Ladies and gentlemen, the following episode is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle are your hosts of In The Kliq, Baby Huey and Ryan Tronic.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner from the Bullet Cast. It's Phil. What's going on, man?
In the Kliq, I'm back. Yes, the prodigal son has returned to his rightful place upon the throne. Huey, what's going on, man? It's been a while since I've been here.
I know. I'm great, man. First off, thank you again for lending your services for this episode of In The Kliq. Yes. Once again, Brian, man, he's gone MIA.
Yes. He misses your show. He misses mine. It's just a thing.
Brian, I love you, man, but you gotta respond to some text messages. Come on, man. So, no, all good. No, Phil, I'm glad you're available for this. I'm really excited to have you back on. And a couple things. One, I felt kind of guilty. Like, I need you back on, considering I worked you last weekend.
Yeah, man. Don't work a worker. Don't do that. Don't do that ever again.
I'm sorry. Sorry, a little backstory here. Just long story short, Phil, you were busy. You and Juicy were down in Fresno last weekend for a wrestling show, and our mutual friend Tim from Pro Wrestling Unlimited, who lives down in Fresno, he was at the show. He texted me, "Hey, I see your buddy Phil." I was like, "Oh, cool. Hey, text me a photo of Phil," and I'm gonna text Phil and say, like, "I see you. I'm here in the show," and I was gonna send the photo and made it look like that I was there watching you from a distance.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening?
So yeah, you were like, "Oh my God, wait, you're here?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm here. I can see you. I watch you. I'm watching you." And then, eventually I just, revealed, no, I'm not really there. It's just Tim that was there. So I'm glad you and Tim got to meet in person. That's the big takeaway of all this. You guys get to meet in person. And then he told me afterwards that you introduced him and his kids to Juicy. And he told me the kids were really happy to see that. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely, man. Hey, man, Phil Fatu love the kids.
And that's the other thing, too. I guess I feel kind of I screwed up there on the intro. I think I should have said not just Phil Fatu, right? That's your new given name or gimmick name, at least.
Yes, I was accepted within the Samoan dynasty, within the bloodline. I know we got some dissension within the family, but at the next cookout or reunion, I'm going to be talking to Jay and Jimmy, and I'm Roman. Like, what are we doing, brother? Come on. Let's not do this.
So for anyone who doesn't know, so you recently did an interview with Jacob Fatu.
Yes.
And early in the interview, Jacob said, whoa, stop before I get into this or continue this conversation. And he personally called you or named you Phil Fatu. And what's the explanation behind that? I mean, I know it's because you've been lending your services and just being helpful with the family and everything. Is there anything else to that?
No, I mean, for the Kliqsters, WrestleMania weekend, or WrestleMania week, we were both down there. Yeah. I had the workers weekend. Night one, we went to the family home, like where Yokozuna grew up and stuff in Carson. Yeah. And I got to meet Zilla Fatu, Umaga's son, who's training down in Texas with Booker T. Yeah. And Jacob was like, it's Philly and Zilla Fatu. So it was just a joke. And then it's spanned into this. Like nice. I do like it. Like other members of the family, like Phil Fatu. I'm like, oh man, thank you for acknowledging me.
Well, I'm curious how the rest of the family is gonna accept you. It's a huge family tree they have. So
yes, I've met about 90 of them. There's about 8,000 more.
Oh my God. So yes, I think that you should really go with that. I know you're training. I think when you make your debut, you should be Phil Fatu.
No. I'm not doing anything like that. No.
Okay, right on.
Absolutely not.
But no, first things first. No, thank you again for making the time. This episode of In The Kliq, it's going to be one we haven't done in a while. Specifically, talk AEW. I know the last handful of episodes, the last couple months, I should say, has been very WWE focused. I apologize for anyone that's a fan of AEW and haven't heard enough of us discussing AEW news and Dynamite reviews, all that stuff. It was busy, man. It was WrestleMania season. Had a bunch of interviews to do, had to cover WrestleMania, and then just the fallout from WrestleMania. I was playing catch up on work, and it's been a busy time, hectic stuff, a lot of things going on. But I figure we need to get some AEW discussions on this podcast, especially with this past week, with all the breaking news within the last handful of days, good or bad. But hey, there's no such thing as, was it bad news? Wait. Am I saying that phrase right?
All press is good press or something like that?
Something like, yeah. No such thing as bad press. It's all good press. Yeah, so with that being said, a lot of stuff to talk about. Specifically, the one and only Mr. CM Punk, a.k.a. Phil Brooks, your fellow Phil. Phil.
My elevator buddy. Yeah.
So, man, a lot to talk about with CM Punk here. I feel like he's not been in the ring since September, All Out. And the guy is brought up nonstop since that time. For a guy who has not been in the wrestling ring, he's talked about more than anyone else, I feel like, outside of Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes. The guy's like the most talked about. Huh?
You know where this all started? In San Jose when he showed up to that New Japan show.
That's right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, that's where it kind of started, and then he showed up to Raw, and he showed up to Impact, and all these other things.
Yeah, so it's been an ongoing saga with CM Punk. I haven't had a chance to look. I hope someone on YouTube is maybe doing like a long story of CM Punk's run in AEW and all the history of it so far. It's been very, eventful. It's coming up on 2 years now since he debuted in AEW, and wow,
August,
what a August 2021 SummerSlam weekend. So here we are coming up on almost 2 years. What a ride it's been. So let's jump right into it. So on last week's Dynamite, not this past week, the previous week, AEW Dynamite, Tony Khan came on, said he had a huge announcement for this coming week for this episode of Dynamite, which got a lot of people excited, speculating what could it be. I know Tony Khan's known for all of his announcements at this point. So it's like what it is. I think a lot of people thought it would be the announcement for AEW Collision. That's been rumored since February, I believe it's been.
Yeah.
And with that, a lot of people are thinking there will be more to that announcement, specifically a new TV deal with Warner Brothers. What would that entail? All that stuff. So people were speculating for that week leading up to this week of AEW television. And listen, before we get into what happened this week with AEW, I do want to, it feels kind of like an afterthought now about the TV deal, but I do want to touch on it real quick. A couple things. So initially, when rumors of AEW Collision was reported, it was announced or speculated, reported from the dirt sheets and whatnot, that this show was going to be a separate show on Saturday nights on TNT. It was going to be the CM Punk show. He was going to be the face of this show. He was going to lead it. They're going to have pretty much a roster of wrestlers from AEW that more or less get along with CM Punk, or his buddies, or he has no problem working with, or they have no problem with him. And so it would almost be a brand split of sorts, two sets of roster, one for Dynamite, people who I guess don't like CM Punk, and then people who do like CM Punk on Saturday nights. What? You're shaking your head here. So that's very, very much like an afterthought now. But
yeah,
what was kind of your initial thoughts on this rumor of like a brand split amongst AEW?
Dude, I've been saying this on my show for weeks. Shawn and Brett worked together. Edge and Matt Hardy worked together.
Yes.
With real life heat, like guys, like we can stop. Like you're grown men in spandex. Like what are we really doing here? Like at the end of the day, like we know this is a work. Like what are we doing? Like stop working yourselves into a shoot.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about this brand split in a little bit, because now we kind of know who might be featured on Collision a little bit more. But the other thing was this rumor about the TV deal, and there's different people reporting how much it could be, what it is. Nothing's been official. It's really kind of died down at this point, but kind of like the consensus was it was going to be a 5-year deal. People were throwing around $1 billion, like $200 million a year for this new AEW deal, which to me is amazing, because right now they're just getting paid like $40 million a year. So where's your thoughts just on this? What could it be a new TV deal?
I mean, I haven't really heard about logistics like that. I mean, that's possible. You know, Fox paid $1 billion for SmackDown for 4 years. Mm-hmm. So that is possible. hey, look, more money in the pocket. I mean, it helps people thrive. This will be from the business wise, and if the numbers do great on a Saturday, then it's a win. Are they gonna do 6:05?
No, it's gonna be 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
So for us on the West Coast, if we want to watch it live, we can watch it at 5 p.m. if you have the app and stuff. So yeah, that's the thing but like I said, that's all kind of died down, and with this rumor of Collision, the CM Punk drama, that's very much like an afterthought, and who knows if we'll get an official announcement of that anytime soon. But nonetheless, for me, when I heard that initial report or just speculation, I was excited for AEW's sake and longevity. It's like, okay, that's cool. They're going to be around for guaranteed at least 5 more years. And if you get like roughly $200 million a year, that's awesome news for the company, because they have that much more money to pay their talent, to re-sign certain people, whoever they want to give them raises, or bring in other new talent, other free agents, maybe coming off the books over at WWE, have more money to spend on different sets and production value, just reinvest that money into the product. It's a win-win, just getting more money in general. So I was excited for that. But like I said, now that feels very much like an afterthought because of the whole CM Punk drama. But I don't know. We'll see what happens if we'll get an official TV deal announcement sometime soon. Which also it's also exciting time for AEW, because keep in mind, live television is still a big moneymaker. I know TNT and Warner Brothers and Discovery specifically, they had the big merger. They're trying to cut costs and cutting a lot of things, and losing jobs, unfortunately. But the fact that they were willing to maybe invest more money in AEW, that's a great sign. And it just shows how valuable live television is, live pro wrestling. It gives them it gives them great content for TNT and TBS. So we'll see how that goes. But so now jumping ahead to this past Wednesday morning, Warner Brothers Discovery had the company's 2023 upfront presentation that was held at Madison Square Garden in New York City. A lot of people were curious what this announcement is going to be, and will this be connected to the announcement Tony Khan had that night on Dynamite, which it was. So it was announced at this event that AEW Collision will premiere on Saturday, June 17th, 8 to 10 p.m. on TNT. And they revealed this big logo on it. So I want to get your thoughts, Phil. What'd you think of the AEW Collision logo and kind of the flyer graphic that they made for it?
I mean, it's obviously paying homage to Nitro and everything like that, which I like it. There were late rumors where people were like, "Oh no, Tony Khan's going to announce AEW Wrestle Dream," which the trademark has been filed for that. Kind of like people thought he was going to announce maybe another quick show or something like that, like a pay-per-view style thing. I saw those late things, probably just trying to throw people off the trail. But at AEW Collision, I'm here for it, but I have kind of my qualms with the way things are going right now in AEW. I mean, is it just going to turn into Rampage where nobody really watches it? You only watch it if you're there live, or is it going to be? I know Tim from Pro Wrestling Unlimited said this is going to be like their SmackDown. This is going to be treated like a real big deal. Hopefully, it is.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So let's talk about this logo. Yes, I very much love it. It's a total throwback to WCW Monday Night Nitro. It's I love the red font up at the top where WCW was instead of Saturday. Previously it said Monday, and it's where it said Nitro, it says Collision, the TNT logo. It very much feels like an updated version of the Nitro logo, which I love as someone who grew up during the Attitude Era, watched Monday Nitro just from start to finish. To me, I love it. It's a great callback, throwback of sorts. So I'm all for it. And then on this flyer itself, oh, by the way, I hope they go with a TV set similar to Nitro. I would love that. I know they recently, was it back in January, they updated the sets for Dynamite.
Yeah.
Now, if they get a new TV deal and get more money, I hope they build a separate set for Collision to make it feel different. And that's the thing. Collision, I think, is supposed to be filmed live most Saturdays. So that's a big plus as well. So with that being said, you can have a Dynamite set build up on Wednesdays, wherever city they're in. Then Saturday, have that set built up wherever they're at on a Saturday. So I hope they have a different set, different feel. I would love if it's literally looks like Nitro and they got AEW in that steel font, like actual big block letters on the side. And I would pop so hard for that. Even they got announcers table off to the side, kind of like the same one WCW used to have, where, as we know, the NWO invaded that stage set all the time. I would love it all. I would pop so hard. But the flyer itself, this graphic, we see Samoa Joe up top, Thunder Rosa, Powerhouse Hobbs. We see Orange Cassidy, MJF, and then right below that, Andre El Idolo, FTR, Miro, and then House of Black at the very bottom. So Phil, it looks like these people are going to be kind of like the face of AEW Collision. It's the speculation is like, okay, are these all the people who get along with CM Punk and have no problem working with him? So is this going to be the initial roster there? Kind of your thoughts on who's on this list so far?
Well, the rumor's been going around that CM Punk wants to work with Samoa Joe, wants to revisit that, which I'm here for it. I like it. MJF being the AEW World Champion, it's important to have him on this show if it's going to be that massive. It's going to give people a chance to shine. Like Andrade hasn't really done anything. He's been with this company for 2 years now. Nothing's happened with him. Miro's finally come back. Maybe he'll get some shine. I like the poster. Just let people have their chance to shine. Like what SmackDown did originally, like the SmackDown 6. That we always talk about, those 6 competitors put on the best performances week in, week out. Maybe these people would be putting on the best performances in wrestling week in, week out with the addition of Collision.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really digging this potential lineup. My only thing is, and a lot of people are kind of making this comment, it really feels like this is the land of the misfits, the people who've had heat with other members of the AEW roster. This is like, okay, there's like a separate island that they all got to exist on now. It's like, okay, you can't be on Dynamite because you don't get along with certain people on the roster. We're going to put you all on Saturday. You guys can do your own thing over there. So I don't know if that's like necessarily the greatest idea, because to me, I just feel like if you got issues amongst your locker room, you got to make it work out. I mean, Phil, you brought up a good point. It's like, Brett, Sean, other people have gotten along. It's like, I feel like instead you're avoiding addressing the issue. People can't get along. You got to work it out and be professional and do work together.
And it's like Tony Khan's basically like, okay, here, let me cater to your needs. But sometimes you got to put your fist down. Like Vince wouldn't stand for this.
I was just going to say,
you're going to work together and like it.
I was going to say, Vince McMahon, to his credit, if people had an issue, it's like, so what? Either you get along or you get out of here. And so,
do you want to be happy or do you want to make money? It's as harsh as that sounds. That's kind of the nature of the beast.
Yeah. So it's just interesting. Like I said, who was on this initial graphic here that was presented? However, this was not the original draft of this graphic here. And then that's when the word started coming out. Was it late Wednesday about the issue around CM Punk, how initially the original graphic was going to have CM Punk on there, not MJF. And so that was kind of like where things started coming out that, a lot of people were like, where's CM Punk? Why is he not on this graphic? Some people were speculating, okay, is this because they want to keep that as a surprise on television as a big return and not spoil it early on this graphic? But no, not so much the case here. So, let's see. So Punk was originally supposed to be the focal point on Wednesday's announcement of the new show. However, Tuesday, Warner Brothers was asked to remove him from all the graphics and the press release. But we know like early drafts of the press release that went out to the public had CM Punk mentioned on there. So it did get leaked out that he was supposed to be a part of this big announcement here. His image was replaced with MJF, as I just said. And his name was not mentioned along with the other returning wrestlers, Miro, Thunder Rosa, and Andrade. Let's see. So Dave Meltzer wrote in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that CM Punk and Ace Steel were both on the impression that Ace Steel would return to AEW as a producer for Collision. And this was tightly guarded secret, and sources within AEW even denied Ace Steel was being rehired. So the reason CM Punk was taking off all the graphics because there was a conflict between Tony Khan and CM Punk, because CM Punk wanted Ace Steel to come back and work as a producer in person on Collision. But apparently he was just going to be remotely working instead of being in person. So yeah, that's where it led to the whole fiasco, having to remove CM Punk from all the promotional materials there. But Warner Brothers is reporting that they hope that this solution will be resolved, this issue would be resolved by next week. And then a new report came out from Mike Johnson, PW Insider, that Steele's involvement with AEW Collision was the conflict preventing CM Punk from being announced as part of this week's show, as part of the show this week. And then Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling also reported that Ace Steel was rehired by AEW months ago, although he has not been backstage. And I guess when asked by other people, they had no idea about this. What added also to this, I guess, are reports that Impact Wrestling expressed interest in hiring Ace Steel, but he turned it down, leading people to speculate that Ace was either going to go to WWE or AEW. Now, Phil, do you know Ace Steel? I think he believed he worked at NXT for a while, right?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Honestly, didn't know who Ace Steel was till they showed up on TV. not knocking the dude or anything like that. Just wasn't familiar with his work.
Yeah.
I guess you could say it is what it is. In a way.
Well, here's the thing. So Tony Khan announced on AEW Dynamite this week. Let's talk about his announcement. So he officially announced that AEW Collision will be happening on June 17th, like I said. And then he pretty much said that next week he'll announce where the first episode of Collision is going to be. He kind of like a graphic shown of all the dates lined up. But now the rumor for June 17th, that Saturday, apparently the rumor is they booked the United Center in Chicago. But now with the CM Punk issue happening, they did not go ahead with the announcement of that's the location because they don't know if he's going to be there or not. And they don't want to book a show in Chicago without CM Punk not being there. And now the backup plan is Dave Meltzer's reporting that they have Daly's place in Jacksonville lined up just in case. So,
yeah, I heard that. You know, apparently they were going to call this the second coming.
Yeah, that was
for his return. Hopefully it all works out, man. You know, because CM Punk, people do want to see him, regardless of how much smack people talk about him. They do want to see him.
So let me ask you this: if you're playing the role of Tony Khan, if you're in his shoes right now, what do you do? There's two sides how you can handle this, and unfortunately, it's a lose-lose situation. I think overall, there's no perfect solution to this. If you're Tony Khan, what do you do? Do you do what CM Punk wants? Give him his demand, which is bring back Ace Steel and have him come on site to work as a producer or whatever job title it is for Collision? Or do you not do what he says, piss him off, but in doing so, you make everyone else happy who don't want to deal with CM Punk and you just move on? It's a tough situation here because if you're Tony Khan, you're trying to like get as much ratings as you can, get the biggest audience to tune in. And CM Punk is a draw, and there's potentially a new deal, a TV deal on the line here. So you might feel that pressure of like, okay, I need CM Punk back to increase our ratings number just to get this TV deal signed and set up and ready to go. So it's really a tough situation here. I could see CM Punk. He probably think, man, I have all the leverage here. I can control this. There's no way, they need me. So I don't know. How do you feel? What would you do if you're Tony Khan here?
Put your fist down, be stern, like sit down. Or apparently these meetings have already happened, which I don't know how we know that. I don't know who's leaking that information. Yeah. But no, just like sit down with Punk and figure something out. And like, if there's going to be like a soft brand split, the Bucks and Kenny don't need to be there. They still can come work on site. Sure. Why not? Whatever. you know what I'm saying? Just figure out a way to appease both parties, but Like you gotta really have the control. Don't be like have your strings pulled like a puppet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, okay, do you do what CM Punk wants, his demands of bring his buddy back and have him work as a producer at Collision, but at the same time, you're pissing off a lot of people who don't want to work with him. And the fact he's being demanding like this, it just shows that he's still upset. And it's just amazing that he's willing to kind of like avoid coming back to AEW just for his friend. I mean, I guess kudos to CM Punk for being loyal to his one friend, but at the same time, you're really fluffing the feathers of this TV deal, and like you're maybe making a toxic work environment. So I don't know what you do. I mean, I feel like if you're Tony Khan, it's like at a certain point, you got to be like, you know what? I can't handle this anymore. This is not worth it. You're jeopardizing way too much. I got to I just can't bring him back anymore. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here. And the other thing, too, to keep in mind is if these reports are true that he's actually been secretly rehired, Ace Steel, for months now. What does that say about Tony Khan, though? And like maybe have some trust issues amongst his roster, his employees. I mean, if the EVPs don't know about this has all been kind of a secret thing. This is all like speculation. But what are your thoughts on Tony Khan if it's true that he secretly had Ace Steel rehired months ago, but working remotely, but not telling anyone? I'm sure some people might not like that idea as well.
Yeah, well, it sounds like people don't want to be around him. Then, and I would be like, well, he's rehired and he's not around you, so why do you care?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that what people get upset is like this guy bit an EVP, bit Kenny Omega. He punched or he threw a chair at Nick Jackson. Like, you should be fired. Like, you caused bodily harm to someone. You assaulted someone. Theoretically, you should have been arrested. And if you get arrested, you should lose your job. You should be fired. Any other workplace, any other work environment, this would not last. Like,
yeah.
That's what's so interesting. Like, only in pro wrestling where you can do this stuff and still maybe have your job. I mean, it's crazy.
It's been so long. I know he was involved in the scuffle, but I forgot that he bit Kenny Omega.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like he assaulted people. He should lose his job and not come back. And the fact that CM Punk is fighting for this, I mean, like, dude, CM Punk, like, I know you're trying to stand up again for your friend, get his job. But it's like, dude, he insulted someone. Like, don't you care about your own career? I know CM Punk, I'm sure he cares about his image and how people feel about him. And, you know, I'm sure he didn't like maybe how he went out in WWE. And maybe he felt like he wanted to kind of do a little course correction on the end part of his wrestling career. But now what all the drama he's creating AEW, he's like adding more fuel to the fire of like this, just kind of this bad impression of who he is. So I would think he would want to do what he can to kind of make people like him. And it's like, why are you standing for Ace Steel? You get what I'm saying, Phil? Does that make sense as far as?
Yeah. He wants to be loyal to his friend. He wants to try to, I mean, I don't know what Ace Steel's situation is. Well, if Ace Steel does get fired from AEW, then go take the job at Impact.
But that's just my thing. It's like, I'm really surprised CM Punk's willing to kind of maybe throw away his career for Ace Steel.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Punk doesn't need the money. Like I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why CM Punk is so firm in his position. It's like, no, I'm not coming back unless my buddy comes back. And I'm sure a lot of people on the outside looking in and be like, dude, you're willing to throw away your career just for this guy? It's like, sorry, this guy, like I said, he assaulted people and people don't want to work with him. Just, you know, unfortunately, you guys can't work together anymore as friends. But like, look at the big picture here. You have a chance to really do some course correction on your career and maybe help AEW to a certain extent. But he's really kind of set in his ways. I guess he's just really stubborn in that sense. So
yeah, Phils are stubborn, man.
So I don't know. We'll see. And then that's the thing. It's like, and I feel like you said, Tony Khan, I'm sure he feels the pressure. He's like, okay, I need CM Punk because if I bring him in, then that way it's going to get a big ratings push. Then it's going to make us look good, the Warner Brothers, and they're going to be happy to sign us to a new TV deal. And, we can have CM Punk ride out this contract for the next couple years, and we're going to look good for Warner Brothers and all that stuff. So I'm sure for him, it's like he wants CM Punk because he knows he's a ratings draw. But at the same time, it's just more drama. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in the locker room. It's like, look at this. It's a never ending battle with this guy. It's like, why do we need him? We have enough talent here. So let me ask you this, Phil, if CM Punk doesn't come back, which, oh, by the way, that's the thing. Dynamite, Tony Khan did say he's going to have another announcement this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. And so realistically, I think that's where he's going to announce where the first episode of Collision is going to be. Now, if it's at the United Center in Chicago, then CM Punk's coming back and they work things out. Or if it's at Daly's place in Jacksonville, then he's not coming back. So we'll see how that announcement plays out. But let me ask you this. If CM Punk doesn't come back, do you think this Collision show is doomed from the start before he even actually has his debut episode?
In some ways, yes.
Mm-hmm.
In other ways, if it has a completely different feel from Dynamite and Rampage and other people are really truly given a chance to shine and the matches are great and the storytelling is good, then it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another thing, if you want a ratings draw, throw all this drama on AEW Access. All access, throw it all on there. Which
they've been
I'm gonna say this right here.
Yeah.
How do you have a reality show with Matt and Nick Jackson on it, and they don't talk about the one thing we all want to talk about?
I know. They've been avoiding it.
It's completely, that's not the purpose of reality TV. This happened, but we don't want to talk about it. Reality TV is supposed to be trashy and dramatic.
Yeah. The biggest backstage locker room drama of the last year, and they avoid talking it at all. I'm with you. That's why I kind of like, okay, why should I watch this if you're not going to actually talk about the big issues here on this show?
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
It's something, but CM Punk's been having fun with this whole thing. We've seen his Instagram stories. He's been on TV for 9 months, and people still can't stop talking about him. And he threw this on his story yesterday.
Yeah.
Hockey tonight would be great if everything is wrapped up by middle of June. I've got a wedding anniversary to plan now. So he's having a little fun with this.
Well, the other day he took some shots at Brian Alvarez and saying that just the fan base can really toxic and encourage everyone to go outside and touch grass. But the thing is like he's calling out Brian Alvarez, but Brian Alvarez is like, dude, I work in pro wrestling media. I have to talk about the news. That's why I talk about you. I have no issues with you. So,
I mean, given, like the accuracy of Meltzer and his reporting over the years, I guess that's what Punk was getting at. Because, I mean, they're not always right, and they've gotten a lot of major things wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's where he was hitting on him for that.
Mm-hmm.
But look, man, he'll be back. If not in AEW, he'll be somewhere because it's CM Punk. Like he'll draw money in.
Well, that's the thing. It's like where you draw the line. If you're Tony Khan, be like, okay, if this is the like, I can't handle it anymore. This is the last straw here. Like this is the sand the line. If he doesn't come back after this, then I'm done. Like I don't need him anymore. So, I feel like in the last year, there's been way too much drama from him. Like, is it really worth it? I mean, CM Punk, how old is he now?
He's 40?
He's in his mid 40s, and he's injury prone. Like, it's one thing if he was like in his late 20s, early 30s, then I could see it's worth investing that time because you get so much extra years out of him. But the fact that he's in his mid 40s, injury prone,
he's 44 years old.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's like, is it worth it? That's the big question here. Is it worth all this drama for someone who's at very much the end part of his career here? I don't know.
Like I said, man, Ace Steel, Punk, Bucks, Kenny down. Look, Punk literally just went backstage at WWE, a place where he literally hated. He thought it was hell on earth and was able to make amends with guys like The Miz and apparently have a nice conversation with Triple H when we know about the heat they've had. If he can do that, then all these guys can work this out.
Well, what's interesting here is if they do work things out with CM Punk, then I think you definitely need a hard brand split as far as Saturday nights having kind of this dedicated roster working with CM Punk only, and then the ones who don't like working with him on Dynamite. But if CM Punk's not there and you don't have him as that big draw, then I don't think you need such a defining brand split. I think you can have it, especially without him being there. You're going to need some of the big names from Dynamite to appear on Collision to make that show popular and get people to tune in.
Here's what I would do. Like, make that place make that place a spot for like designated champions, if that makes sense. You know, like kind of how like the Cruiserweight title was just on SmackDown for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's what I would do. Occasionally have the world champion, whoever they are, make an appearance at least once a month. All the TNT title, just have it on Collision. Just why not? It doesn't need to be on TBS on Dynamite.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Just Rampage and Collision. That's where that title will always be.
Mm-hmm.
And House of Black, they're on the card. Look, have them on Collision. Have them show up to Dynamite if they need to. If there's a call for a trios title match, like really, like I said earlier, just have a designated roster and let people shine. Give Miro a chance to really shine and show why he was the monster he is. Let Andrade catch some of that heat that he had when he was running in NXT. You know what I mean? Throw Roosh on there. Throw a lot of people that are like get on TV every once in a while, but lose. You know?
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool.
Wins.
Well, no, the thing is, if for me, why I also would want a brand split is I think it'd be cool. That way, certain wrestlers would get more TV time that they don't get already on the 2-hour Dynamite. I think what I'm looking forward to about Collision is you're going to see certain wrestlers on that roster get more TV time. Now, granted, I know the creative and the storytelling AEW has very much been up and down. That's a big criticism of that company and that promotion. But with that being said, I think, okay, if you got an extra 2 hours a week now on AEW Collision, let the wrestlers who don't get any TV time on Dynamite have a place to shine over there. That's what I'm hopeful for. Now, granted, how's the creative going to plan out? I mean, that's for me as an old school fan, going to make me want to tune in on a regular basis. How's the stories going to play out?
Absolutely, yeah. Because, I mean, if you saw All Access, you saw a little bit of how Tony Khan kind of books in his little booking book there. Yeah. And how he does have things planned months in advance, which is good, but is what you should do, especially if you're running a large company. Mm-hmm. But I mean, can he really do it, man?
Mm-hmm.
That's the real question. I mean, he has the football team, he has the soccer team, he has his other little businesses. This is just another thing to add to the task.
Yeah, we haven't. Also, keep in mind, AEW Dark and Elevation have been more or less canceled or ended. And so they're no longer on YouTube. And that's also kind of speculation where the reports are maybe a new TV deal exclusively is going to be with Warner Brother properties only. Yeah. So the only thing right now is they have Dynamite, Rampage, Ring of Honor that's on Honor Club, and in Collision. So all the AEW properties are on Warner Brothers. So for me, like I said, I'm hopeful that with Collision, what I'm excited for is certain wrestlers are going to get more TV time, more opportunities for these people to get have wrestling matches. That's what I'm excited for. But like my only concern, like I'm with you, Phil, that's an extra 2 hours a week. They got to come up with creative.
Here's what I would do.
I just want to say, I just don't want matchmaking. I want to see stories. I want to, more promos, backstage segments. Get me invested in these characters. If you're giving an extra 2 hours a week that I need to tune in for, make it worth my time. Make me care about these wrestlers. So that's where I'm coming from with all that.
Here's what I would do. Like, kind of give over the reins, like the main, week-to-week television creative of Ring of Honor, give that over to somebody else, like a Christopher Daniels, a Ring of Honor legend. He has a higher position now in AEW. And then, just kind of like have like a little team because, back in the day, Vince, he had Pat Patterson and he had
Gerald Briscoe.
Pritchard.
Oh, Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah. And then eventually, he got
Michael Hayes
and Russo and Duke. Yeah, so I mean, just kind of have like a little team, Don't take on the whole task yourself.
You heard what his current creative team is, right?
I don't know. Who is it?
Okay, so the reports are did I text this? Hold on. Let me see if I have it.
I've been under the impression it's just him this whole time.
So there was reports of did I save this? Okay. Well, apparently it's QT Marshall. Okay. It's Sanjay, who's Jeff Jarrett's partner or
manager. Oh, Sanjay Dutt?
Yeah. And Will Washington. Hold on.
Will Washington. Okay. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's awesome then.
But yeah, but for me though, I want to see some more wrestlers on that creative team. I know the Elite have been kind of booking their own storylines as of late, and so Blackpool Combat Club. And I think there's a new rumor that came out that says Brian Danielson is wants to help out with some more creative stuff, which I'm excited for.
Hell, let him do creative for Collision or Ring of Honor or something.
Yeah,
because I've kind of stepped into the booker role. Booking one match creative is crazy. I can only imagine booking multiple shows a week.
Yeah. So that's my thing. That's like I said, between Dynamite, Rampage, Ring of Honor, and Collision, I just concerned, can Tony come up with enough creative stuff for all that show? Because I don't watch Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor apparently is just match after match after match. No really major storylines there.
And that's a shame.
Yeah. I think, let someone else, maybe Tony Khan needs to give up some power and let some people run that show separately. I really wanted Ring of Honor to be AEW's version of NXT. Let that be a brand that you have upcoming young talent work.
Well, they have some great talent there.
Yeah, have some fun, storylines there. Maybe have some veterans that work that show to help work with the young talent. Make that like a hot pocket of storytelling and matches. That's like what NXT was back in the day. But for right now, if it's just match after match, then I feel like there's no major reason for me to tune in.
One thing I have a problem with, it just looks like an AEW show. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I remember watching Ring of Honor, especially like 12 up until, like the Elite left. Yeah. Like they had that shot of the what is it? The walkway. The hard cam was the walkway. It felt different. It had a different feel. Get back to that, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have talent there that's awesome. Like Josh Woods, I'm a fan of his. I know he had the big match at Revolution and the tag scramble. I'd like to see him do more. I'd like to see a lot of people do more over there. Have Willow Nightingale win the title over there. I mean, she just won the New Japan Strong Women's title. Spoiler alert.
Oh, she did win that.
Yeah. She beat Mercedes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, good for her.
Just have talent like that who, kind of have a name for themselves, but really need to come up and have that next crescendo to where they can gradually be moved on to a Collision or Dynamite,
Exactly. I'm with you. But now what I heard was that one rumor was, okay, Dynamite will be filmed, Wednesdays live, and then Rampage will film right after. Then Saturdays will be Collision live, and then Ring of Honor filmed right after. So that's kind of the taping schedule. Well, that's what I heard.
That's fine because that I'm not gonna lie, that AEW taping was a little long with Rampage.
Yeah.
The darks and everything like that.
But my thing is, if Ring of Honor is filmed right after Collision, it's just going to look like another episode of AEW. I like how Ring of Honor was filming some stuff at Universal Studios in Orlando or wherever it was.
Just do that, or where they were having those dark tapings. Just film it there.
Yeah, I like that. Like,
you're really getting this much money from this deal. Use that way, man. Just rent out the building and just have Ring of Honor set up there. Fly in whatever talent, possibly use talent that are closer to that region so it doesn't cost as much. It's a cost-cutting mechanism, but just do something like that.
So that's just my thing is like, I want to be happy that we're getting Collision. So if you're a fan of AEW, you're just getting that much more TV. But I just want to make sure it's worth my time. I want more creative stories, feature wrestlers that don't get enough time right now to shine. So that's what I want to be hopeful for. I want to be optimistic right now.
It's simple, man. If that first episode does not hit, people are not going to watch this.
Exactly. It's just going to be another Rampage because Rampage, no one watches Rampage anymore. I know people initially thought Rampage was going to be their SmackDown. It really is. I heard someone say it's just WWE's Velocity.
Yeah, Tim said that. It's Velocity or Heat.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all it is. Like, it's not worth tuning in for. I hate to say it, But like I said, so I want Collision to be a big deal. I really want Collision to be like their SmackDown and have a roster there that's unique to that show that you get to tune in for. I think it's cool, though, if MJF as world champion floats between both shows. I'm with you. I think maybe Jade as TBS champion should be on Dynamite only on TBS. Have TNT champion Wardlow currently on Collision mostly. And so I'm with you. Have those titles. Maybe have, Orange Cassidy International champion can be.
What about the women's title mainly being on Collision?
Oh, yeah, exactly. There you go. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. Maybe have, the women's champion on
tag title
Collision.
stay on Dynamite.
Yeah, and then have the trios champion. But the FTR are buddies with CM Punk. For right now, maybe the tag titles can be on Collision. The trios titles can be on Wednesdays. You get what I'm saying? So you can kind of, the international title can be on Wednesdays or whatever. So that way you can have, I think you can split the titles because they do have a lot of championships. And I know, Phil, you've mentioned there's way too many, but
less is more. Less is more.
But with these two shows, you can kind of split them in half a little bit that way. So I don't know. It's yet to be seen how this is going to go. Like at the end of the day, of course, I want CM Punk on my TV. I like watching CM Punk, but if he's such a drama, a headache behind the scenes, then I get it why AEW might need to cut their losses at some point and be like, we don't need this anymore. I'd rather take care of my roster here who are here right now and build the future with. And keep in mind, if CM Punk comes back and people are not happy, then people might leave. Keep in mind, he needs to re-sign the Elite. He has not done yet. And we know the Elite doesn't like CM Punk. So is it worth keeping CM Punk around and losing, the foundation of that company, the Elite, leaving the company here?
I don't think they'd leave the company over.
I hope they don't leave.
Look,
but then again, how sweet would it be? The Elite leaves in early 2024. They show up in WWE and help Cody Rhodes take down the Bloodline. Just saying.
That would be something.
You would say it'd be too sweet.
Absolutely. Go help them finish the story. But yeah, man, I mean, just like a hard brand split, I'd be interested in that. There are ways that this can be done, but with the whole not liking each other thing, think about the money. Could you imagine the Bucks and Kenny versus CM all in, or Kenny versus CM Punk all in? Come on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They got the Wembley show to worry about still. They sold 60,000 tickets. Congrats to them.
Here's actually the plus side of Collision. So you could possibly do like Collision, like those storylines flushed out at All Out, and then like a couple Dynamite storylines mainly flushed out at All In. Or have like a super collab, where the shows come together and put on a massive show.
Listen, I know we've been running long here talking about this, so we could talk more and more, but we'll see how it plays out this week. As we said, Tony Khan has another announcement. So if they book United Center for Collision or announce United Center, that means CM Punk's coming back. If they go Daly's place, then he's not coming back. So we keep talking to her blue in the face, but at this point, let's just move on and see what happens this week on Dynamite. All right. Well, speaking of this past week's episode of Dynamite, I do want to touch on it. I do want to review it. There's some major highlights here as far as really they're finally setting up, I think, the big matches for Double or Nothing. Like the card is starting to fill up now. I'm looking at Wikipedia here, and it looks like they have 9 matches so far. So it's pretty set here on what's going to happen.
Don't add any more.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. Keep it 3 hours. Not like a 4-hour marathon. But this week on Dynamite, I really kind of set in stone all the big matches for Double or Nothing. I thought it was a pretty good episode of Dynamite this week. The big takeaway, though, was we saw, let's see here. We got to see, I guess, I don't know if we call it the main event, because the main event would be the world title is MJF, but maybe you can call this like the co-main event, or maybe the second biggest match on the show. It's official. The Elite versus the Blackpool Combat Club in Anarchy in the Arena match here. So let's power through all these highlights here. So we saw, early in the show, we saw Alex Marvez trying to talk to the Young Bucks about Kenny Omega's condition. Blackpool Combat Club show up, beat the crap out of them. They're throwing suitcases, total chaos there. And then later in the night, after the main event, the last segment of the show was Don Callis coming out, to talk to Tony Schiavone and explain himself for turning on Kenny Omega last week, where he had the steel cage match against Jon Moxley, and he turned on Kenny Omega, hit him with the screwdriver in the head, cost him the match, and ended their partnership working together. A couple parts here. What are your thoughts on Don Callis turning on Kenny Omega?
I loved it. I thought I said on the Bulletcast, I thought that was like just a really good ending, a really good crescendo to that episode of Dynamite. It was something that Dynamite I felt like is needed.
Yeah,
for quite
absolutely.
some time. I loved that. And then with what we saw at the end of this Dynamite, it felt kind of like the old early Dynamites were just chaos.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. As far as it was interesting, when Don Callis first showed up in AEW, he helped Kenny Omega beat Jon Moxley, win the title, and now he ends his partnership by turning on Kenny Omega in a match against Jon Moxley here. So very just, bittersweet moment right there. I'm curious what Don Callis' motivation is. Well, he did explain himself. He said, Kenny Omega owes everything to him in his career and where he's at, more or less what he said here. Actually, I had some of the notes here. Let's see. So AEW security was up on the ramp trying to protect Don Callis. And he says, everybody wants to hear why I did what I did to Kenny Omega. But instead, I'm going to talk about Kenny Omega did to me. There's only one victim in this scenario, and it's not Kenny. It's me. Without me, there's no Kenny Omega. And then Kenny Omega's music hits the play, and he interrupts Don Callis. He tries to come down, but then the Blackpool Combat Club swarm Kenny Omega, start beating him up. It's total chaos. Don Callis gets out of the ring. So Blackpool Combat Club, they outnumbered the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. But then sure enough, Hangman's music hits. He comes out and he stands with the Elite. Kenny Omega, Hangman has the gold eye patch. Kenny Omega hands the broom to Hangman Page. Hangman takes it, leads the charge down to the ring. Total fight between Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite, 4-on-4. Hangman grabs the microphone and says they challenge him to a match at Double or Nothing, Anarchy in the arena. Great way to end Dynamite. I thought it was awesome. Great way to see Kenny Omega, Hangman reunite, because they were once a tag team, as we all know. What do you think about just how that whole Dynamite concluded?
So he handed him the broom. Is Hangman now the new cleaner?
Or at least he's extending, the olive branch. It's like, I'm the cleaner. Here, you can use my broom to take out the trash in the Blackpool Combat Club.
Couple things. One, too many eye patches on this show. We've seen too many eye patches. I mean, Pac, Hangman, Moxley, Julia Hart. This is all eye patch wrestling. That's what this feels like. But look, I love seeing the Elite back together. It reminded me of the days of old. We just needed Cody. Cody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. And Anarchy in the Arena, I think it will main event because I remember Stadium Stampede. I think it main evented like the back-to-back those years.
Yeah.
Besides the world title match. Now, obviously, old school, the world title match should go on last, but we've seen in the past that's not always the best case. Sorry, Triple A.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I think it's great, man. I'm excited. It's going to be utter chaos.
Anarchy, as they say.
Yes.
There should be a lot of. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Also, the world title match for Double or Nothing. It's going to be the four pillars: MJF defending the title against Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, and Darby Allin. I feel like initially when this rivalry was starting a few weeks ago or last month, I wasn't really buying it. I just felt like they're all in the ring just kind of whining and complaining like, I like you, but I don't like you. You did this to me. It just felt like four guys just kind of, complaining. I wasn't really buying it. It wasn't so much about what's the word I'm trying to think of? It wasn't really like I want to be the best here. It was more just like, oh, you did this to me back in the day. I don't like you. I just wasn't really buying it.
Yeah.
But I feel like the last couple weeks, it's been getting better.
Sure.
I'll give them credit.
But, on Dynamite, Guevara said, I don't care if I win or I just don't want MJF to win, which you don't want to win the heavyweight title. You win the championship. That means more money. You don't want more money? Like what? Like what are we doing?
Well, let's talk about that. So yeah, was it last month? Like MJF did not want a 4 pillars match. He didn't want a fatal 4-way for the title. And like he came out with that baseball hat and he drew numbers or drew names. And they had like this, it was really convoluted, even for me trying to re-explain what happened here. But Phil, you remember they had like almost like a little tournament where Sammy and Jungle Boy faced each other. Darby got a bye. And then the winner of that match faced Darby. And then MJF wanted to pay Sammy to win, and therefore would pretty much lay down for him at Double or Nothing, which we knew was not going to happen. You're not going to do that for your main championship. So, but it was really kind of convoluted how they got to that place.
Yeah, see, that's I'm sorry to cut you off. That's another one of the problems. We can't just have MJF keep putting people through ropes. He did the Labors of Jericho. He did the thing with Wardlow. We can't just the thing with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
we can't just keep doing this. It's old. It's tired.
Yeah, well, and then MJF, offered to pay Sammy Guevara to lay down for him, gave him a blank check, whatever it was. And they were kind of on the same page, working together, kissing each other on the forehead and stuff. But then it turned into, MJF showed his true colors when Sammy would not, or MJF would not let Sammy ride in the car with him, even though we saw the camera shot. It was clearly empty. Sammy Guevara realized, okay, MJF is not really my friend here. And then he more or less turned his back on him, which finally got everyone to be mad at each other. You know what I mean? So with that point, it was then we saw also MJF talking to Jungle Boy. Darby Allin comes in, and so he doesn't trust Jungle Boy. So there's a lot of distrust between everyone now.
This didn't have to be this convoluted. It's like
exactly that's my thing.
Remember that OVW class: Batista, Lesnar, Orton, and Cena. It's as if those 4 guys were in a main event for the WWE Championship. That's basically what you could have just built this as. The 4 young upstarts who had everything to prove, who have now had success in the company. Jungle Boy being a tag champ and the thing with Christian. MJF, obviously, he's the world champion. Darby Allin, a couple-time TNT champion, has run with Sting. Sammy Guevara, all the groups he's been in, the multiple TNT title runs. It all comes down to this. These 4 are at a completely different level. Their stock has risen in the company. Now it's time to see who's truly the best out of the 4. It's just that simple. Yeah,
exactly. But they really made this whole convoluted process of like, okay, you 2 fight each other. Winner fights this person, and then this person I'm gonna pay off. It got really confusing, but now everyone is like on the same page as far as we don't like one another. This week we saw Sammy Guevara have a squash match against Exodus Prime. And then Roosh had a match with Jungle Boy Jack Perry, but Roosh dominated that match. Man, I don't know about you, from a booking standpoint, if I have Jungle Boy going into a main event of my pay-per-view, I should book him stronger. But Roosh dominated that one match with him this week. I was like,
He did the old John Cena, get your ass kicked and win at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And then we saw Renee Paquette have a backstage interview with MJF, and he grabbed the microphone, hit the microphone out of her hand. So I don't know. I have not been fully invested in the build for this world title match here. Theoretically, I should be excited because it is the 4 pillars, the 4 young faces of this company. But I don't know, man. I'm not fully invested in this thing. So, all right. We also know Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho is going to be a Double or Nothing. This has been kind of a weird build as well. As far as last month, was it Chris Jericho? Wait, who had the match with Keith? Was it Keith Lee, right?
Jericho had the match with Keith Lee, and
Adam Cole comes down to the ring, helps Keith Lee, and walks away with him. And I was like, that was so random.
I was like, are they doing the whole manager thing that was rumored in WWE? Is that what's going on here?
Exactly. That's why I thought so too. But then it was like Jericho got pissed at Adam Cole because like he just brushed him off and walked away. And then Jericho did the same thing to him. It was kind of, I was kind of like, where are they going with this? But anyway, a couple weeks ago, we saw Roderick Strong make his AEW debut. What do you think about Roderick Strong joining AEW?
Bring back Bobby Fish, fulfill the prophecy.
I'm with you. Give me Undisputed Era versus the Elite. I want that so bad.
Yeah, it actually shocked me. I love Roderick Strong. I wanted to see him, kind of do some more stuff in WWE, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but very excited to see Roderick Strong in AEW. I hope he can shine there, especially like I said with the 2 shows. That's someone I think can get more TV time.
Put him on Collision and let him just go.
Yeah. Oh my God. But Jericho cut that promo with Roderick Strong saying, I have a court document saying Adam Cole's not allowed in the building where I'm at. And then Roderick Strong says, I have a match with you. Last man standing match. But mine, Jericho Appreciation Society are also banned as well. So we had this last man standing match.
Count anywhere.
Or excuse me, Falls Count Anywhere. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then they go to the outside, which it's creative way, and they were outside of the building, which I like. I like when wrestling does that. And Jericho got pinned on some dirt.
Yeah, so that was my thing. Like, I know this Falls Count Anywhere seemed kind of extreme out of nowhere because like they have never faced each other. Like. It just kind of out of nowhere, but it makes sense from the booking standpoint. I thought it was very creative. I thought it was a fun match, but I thought it was a great way to get them outside the building, and therefore, technically, they are going by the rules. Adam Cole can show up and attack Chris Jericho, and then Roger Strong got the win here. So, setting up their match for Double or Nothing.
So now you're in a Jericho can lose because he's Chris Jericho. He doesn't really need it, but then you're going to have him lose 2 pay-per-views in a row because remember he lost to Ricky Starks.
Yeah, I know.
have problems with what Ricky Starks is doing.
Yeah, we'll get into that too as well. I have thoughts as well.
And Adam Cole, he needs a big win, if he's going to get into the title picture. Because I think that's where he goes after this.
Yeah, I think Adam Cole, not the early predictions here, but I think Adam Cole needs to win. And I would like to see him be eventually maybe the one to beat MJF for that world title.
Brandon, my co-host, would disagree with you. He thinks Eddie Kingston's the guy to do it.
Well... But he's injured, man. He's recovering from surgery, right?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about when it's almost 2024 and that winter is coming. Boom.
Gotcha. Okay, I can see that.
But I'm excited about this match. Two of my favorites. I'm a huge Jericho fan, as you know, and then I love Adam Cole, especially when that Undisputed Era was running. Man, he was so white hot. They should have really capitalized and let him stay with the company, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Also, we got a TNT Championship match set up for Double or Nothing. Wardlow defending against Christian. Wardlow came out at the beginning of the show, wanted to fight Christian, confront him. Christian and Luchasaurus come out. I like Luchasaurus' new look, like an evil look. He's got the shoulder pad with the spike, or the reptile spikes.
The lawsuit with the mask. Have you heard about this?
Yeah. Wait, who is it with it again? It's like a movie. Or
some guy that had the mask as a design, and Luchasaurus got it, and when he was on the Indies and whatever, and then since he's, I guess the deal was you can use it to wrestle or whatever, but not merch for money or whatever. And then AEW has made a whole bunch of merch and money off of it, so they've been in a lawsuit, and then I guess their claim to have this thing thrown out was dismissed, so it's going to be an ongoing battle.
Oh wow, okay, We'll see what happens here. Well, Christian comes out, cuts a great heel promo. He's one of the best on the microphone, and just man, some of the stuff he said. Whew. They attack Wardlow, use a ladder, take him out, and then we see a backstage segment with Wardlow. Arn Anderson comes up, grabs the ice, throws in, motivate Wardlow here. So they're gonna have a match at Double or Nothing. I'm excited for it just because Christian's such a good heel. But Wardlow, that's a big match. He needs to win there.
Yeah, if you're going to have a ladder match with somebody.
Oh, yeah, with Christian, absolutely.
One
of the kings of TLC. So
absolutely.
That should be a lot of fun. Orange Cassidy, man, this guy who's been the AEW International Champion, to his credit, man, he's been defending that title week after week. He's been a total workhorse for the company.
Yes, but if it's the international title, shouldn't it be defended other places besides? Pac, he was defending it on the indies and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But the story they're trying to tell is Orange Cassidy's just getting beat up from wrestling so much. He's got wrapped up hands. His body's breaking down from all these matches. Great babyface move as far as, hey, I'm defending this title week after week. He had a match. Him and Darby Allin took on Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. They picked up the win. But then backstage, Renee interviewed him, and it's he just bring all the challengers, and he says has a 20-man Blackjack Battle Royal for the AEW International Championship at Double or Nothing. So it's gonna be interesting, man, that they're gonna have a battle royal for this title. So Orange Cassidy can theoretically get thrown out early in the match, be eliminated, and lose the title that way. Do you think he's gonna lose the title?
I don't know. It's like 20 different challengers, and then he said he'll make 21. Now it's Blackjack.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
How is this different from the other battle royal they do where they come out in suits? You know, like how they do and stuff like that. Honestly, what I would do, like whoever the last two are, just turn it into a one-on-one, and then boom, whoever wins is the champion.
So I imagine Orange Cassidy's probably going to go to distance, and I mean he's going to have probably the longest run in that match. So we'll see how that goes. But it's something different. If
it's a regular battle royal, then whoever throws him over the top rope, his equity's not really tarnished because he wasn't pinned or submitted. For
exactly. Now the tag titles, that's also going to be up at Double or Nothing. FTR is going to take on Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Man, like I'm torn because I like Jeff Jarrett.
I love Jeff Jarrett.
He is great. One of the best work punches of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't know why he's having so much TV time.
Because he's Jeff Jarrett.
I know, but I'm still pissed that the Acclaim lost the titles months ago.
Where are the Acclaimed?
Yes, they're the most over team in all the AEW. They should be on TV. And then the Gun Club, what happened to that? They disappear.
Yeah. Maybe they'll be on Collision.
I mean, that's the thing. That's another example of the importance of Collision, getting these some of these tag teams more TV time. But like I said, I just don't know if Jeff Jarrett should be getting this much TV time at this point in his career when you can have a younger team working with.
I think it's just a filler storyline, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we saw, they beat up FTR. Karen Jarrett made her return, or made her debut.
The OG Karen.
Yes, exactly. I've been liking the stuff with Mark Briscoe, though. Jeff Jarrett, like they're all fighting for Mark Briscoe's love and attention at this point, and he's going to be a referee for that match, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me double check here.
Actually, Mark Briscoe just celebrated 23 years in the business.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, Mark Briscoe served as special guest referee. So I like the video package they did on the farm with Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal and the rest of the crew. I thought that was very funny. So yeah, it's now you got Karen Jarrett. The fact that she's coming on, like, I wonder if this is a one-time thing or is she going to be a regular on TV now as well?
It's a 2011 TNA all over again.
Exactly. We saw, let's see, Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker take on the Outcasts, and let's see who won that one. I'm trying to remember here.
Forgot Hikaru Shida was with the company.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it's great to see her back. Let's see.
The Outcast one, right? Yeah.
As the ref was distracted, Tony sprayed Britt Baker in the eyes. Tony Storm pinned Britt Baker after spiking her with the pile driver.
Britt's really gone down too.
Yeah. Well, Jamie Hayter has been on TV recently. I know she's been recovering from an injury. But we saw later in the show, Tony Storm cut a promo with Renee, and she pretty much challenged Jamie Hayter for a match for the women's title at Double or Nothing. So I'm guessing Jamie Hayter is going to be back from injury by that point. Should be healed up. So that's going to be good, man. They had a great match last year, right? So it's almost like a rematch of sorts between the two of them.
Yes, because didn't Tony took it off of her, right?
I think it was.
Or the other way
Jamie.
around.
I'm trying to remember it now. See, there's so much keep track of.
I can't remember either.
But no, I'm excited for this match, even though I was kind of maybe hopeful someone else would get an opportunity for the title. But from the story here, I guess I can see why. I know we're running long here. Maybe in the next episode, I'll talk more about my thoughts on the Outcast. I feel it's a little bit of a miss with the whole Outcast story.
Yeah,
I feel like
I know we're running long. Can we touch on Ricky Starks and the whole Jay White thing real quick?
So yes, that's the last thing here. Good, thank you for bringing that up. So yeah, in the main event, it was Ricky Starks taking on Jay White here, Juice Robinson by his side. I don't know about you, man. I don't know why they're doing this feud right now. Both of them don't need this right now. You bring Jay White to the company, take on Ricky Starks. Both of them need a win right now.
So Jay White, he had that match at the San Jose New Japan show. We were both there. Great match with Eddie Kingston, loses. And then David Finlay comes out, attacks him, says this man is no longer in Bullet Club.
Yep.
So why is he in Bullet Club Gold in AEW?
What is Bullet Club Gold? They never explained it.
It's the gold version of Bullet Club. Look, dude, it's not. If this was 13 to 19, you can get a lot out of these different Bullet Clubs, but it's not that anymore. The key players are no longer in that group. I hate to say that. Honestly, Jay White should have come over to Stanford. That's just the bottom line. That's where I'm put it, because you have such a great send off. You know that was going to be the end of the Bullet Club run and everything. Now, Brandon on the show this week, he said, "Don't even call it Bullet Club Gold. That's stupid. Just do like a switchblade pun or something and call it that." You know?
Like a switchblade faction or something.
Yeah, because
you're right.
You have Bullet Club on AEW, on Impact, in New Japan Strong. Then of course we have the OC running around in WWE. We have the Elite. Like these 6 different incarnations of this one group from all these years. Like, what are we doing?
No, I'm with you. He got kicked out of the Bullet Club, and when he shows up in AEW, when he signs with them, everything he does has Bullet Club all over it. It's like, no, it doesn't make sense. He got kicked out. You're done. But they're like riding this Bullet Club Gold, but they never explain what this is. And it's just the 2 of them. Are they going to add more members? Like, it really seems like, and then the reports were, I guess WWE was interested in bringing Jay White, but then they kind of backed out. So Jay White ended up signing with AEW. It really feels like AEW signed him, but it was such a last minute signing. They didn't have anything lined up for him creatively. So they're just throwing him in this feud with Ricky Starks, but he's new to the company. You got to keep him strong. It's a big free agent signing. You got to give him some wins here.
Ricky Starks got the biggest win of his career over Chris Jericho.
Yep.
This is what we're doing.
Yes. And that's the thing. Ricky Starks, which some people have argued he should be the one in that 4 Pillars match.
What I would have done, bro, I would have had Samoa Joe beat Wardlow.
Okay.
And let me scratch that. Wardlow beats Samoa Joe. Hobbs beats Wardlow. And then Hobbs wins the rematch, and Hobbs is just running with the TNT title. I'd have Starks beat Will Hobbs because they have history from Team Taz.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah, I'm with you. The booking of Hobbs, it's a whole nother issue I've had. I know we're running long here. There's so much, like I said, I can go on a tangent of all the booking issues I've had last couple months, and that's why, I'm pissed about some of that stuff. But you're right. Ricky Starks, he got that big win over Chris Jericho. He should use that as momentum to take him to the next level with this company. But you put him in a match with Jay White, it's a lose-lose situation. Whoever wins here is great for them, but then the other person will lose their momentum. So I'm with you. It's I don't know why they didn't save this match for the pay-per-view at least. So, but yeah, no, in the actual match though, it was Ricky Starks grabbed the chair, smacked Juice Robinson with it. The ref turned around, saw Ricky with the steel chair, and disqualified Ricky. So Ricky loses by DQ. I don't know if they're going to set up a rematch for Double or Nothing. That's not been announced yet. Actually, let me just double check here. Wikipedia. No, nothing here. So I can imagine they'll probably have a rematch there, but I don't know, man. Jay White is such a cool wrestler. They should be doing more with him as well, but I don't know. It just shows how big that roster is. Hence why you should probably go with the brand split, or at least a divided roster for Collision and Dynamite.
What Arn Anderson said, 150 different talents.
Yeah,
a couple of weeks ago, I was like, why?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So
between 4 different shows and people still don't have time on TV. Come on now, bro.
I know.
I hate to be that guy, but we got to start cutting people. Like I don't want to be that guy, but like that's where it is.
They really need 3 rosters. Have a Dynamite roster, have a Collision roster, and have an ROH roster.
What about Rampage?
That's Velocity. You don't need that.
That's jacked and metal.
yes. So, we'll see how it goes, man. I'm curious how Double or Nothing's going to play out. I really feel like Double or Nothing's been kind of an afterthought as well, because everyone was so concerned about All In, All Out, the Wembley show. where All Out's going to be. But yeah, it's like, oh, they have a pay-per-view coming up next weekend. And so finally they're building up all the matches on Dynamite this week. And then next week will be the go home episode. So we'll see how it all goes, man. But yes, I know we've been running long. Thank you everyone for listening this whole time. It was a lot of news. CM Punk, this episode of Dynamite, I thought was really stacked. There was a lot of moments here that we need to talk about, especially with Double or Nothing on the horizon. So on that note, let's start wrapping things up. Phil, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
You can find me on my personal social medias, Heel Antwine, HeelAntwine, The Bulletcast on Instagram, at Bulletcast on Twitter, Bulletcast on YouTube. I'm going to plug a couple things. Next week, Saturday, May 27th, Slashapalooza, Ugwa, Narrative Formations in San Jose. It's Boss Man's birthday. Come party with us. And then the day after, Collectible Stampede, May 28th in Woodland, California at Taqueria Guadalajara 6W Court. Please find out if Alpha Zoe retains the Bulletcast title against Dave Waste and Loverboy Leo. Also, we have other matches. There are going to be ladder matches there. There's going to be a burrito eating contest. You don't want to miss it. Come check it out. May 28th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Wrestling starts at 10.
Ooh. And is it true an ECW legend will be there?
Yeah. Look, man, you got Mustafa Saeed that'll be there. That's two less we got to worry about. And then you have the suicidal, homicidal, death-defying Sabu will be in attendance. Yes.
Looking forward to that. All right. And I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey 83. For everything else, please follow at In The Kliq on social media. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts at. If you watch us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Please share the podcast as well. Email us intthekliq@gmail.com. I still need to do a bonus episode of just answering emails. There's so many topics to get into. I'll do that one of these days.
I'll come back for that.
Yes, absolutely. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.